Hello, my friends. I'm very happy to share this quiet little story with you today. It begins with sugar, a machine, and a very surprising idea. Long ago, before cotton candy machines, people already loved sugar. Rich people in Europe sometimes ate spun sugar. This was sugar pulled into very thin threads by hand. It looked beautiful, but it was difficult to make. It took time, skill, and patience. So ordinary people usually could not have it. It was more like a special art for the rich than a snack for everyone. People could make sweet sugar threads? Yes, but they could not yet make the big soft cloud that we know today. That part of the story came later, and it came in America. Now let us travel to Nashville, Tennessee, in the United States. The year was 1897. In that city lived a man named William Morrison. Morrison was a dentist. Yes, a dentist. That is one reason this story is so famous. A dentist helped create one of the sweetest treats in the world. Morrison was not only a dentist. He also liked new ideas. He liked machines. He liked trying new things. One day, he worked with a confectioner, a candy maker, named John C. Wharton. Together, they wanted to solve a problem. The problem was simple. Sugar threads were beautiful, but they were hard to make by hand. Morrison and Wharton wanted a machine to do this work. They wanted hot sugar to turn into very fine strands very quickly. They worked together, tested ideas, and tried to build something new. Finally, they created an electric candy machine. The machine heated the sugar, then pushed it through tiny holes while it spun very fast. As the sugar cooled, it became many thin threads. Those threads gathered into a light, sweet cloud. It was a clever idea, and a very modern idea for that time. In December of 1897, Morrison and Wharton filed for a patent for their candy machine. A patent is a legal paper that protects an invention. Then, in January of 1899, the patent was granted. Their machine was real now. It was official. It was not just a dream in a workshop. It was a new invention with their names on it. Imagine how exciting that must have felt. Two men standing beside a strange machine, watching plain white sugar change into something that looked almost like magic. Something so light, so soft, and so surprising. But inventing something is only the first step. After that, people must see it, taste it, and love it. Morrison and Wharton needed the perfect place to show their new sweet to the world. And soon, they found it. That place was the Great World's Fair in St. Louis, Missouri, in 1904. World's fairs were huge events. People came to see inventions, machines, buildings, foods, and new ideas from many places. It was the perfect stage for a candy that looked like a cloud and seemed almost impossible. When Morrison and Wharton brought their machine to the fair, they did not call the treat cotton candy. Not yet. They gave it a more magical name. They called it fairy floss, and truly, that name fit very well. The candy looked soft and bright, like something from a dream. People walking through the fair saw the machine spinning. They saw sugar become threads in front of their eyes. They smelled the sweetness in the air. They watched workers gather the threads into fluffy shapes. Many people had never seen anything like it before. They stopped, stared, smiled, and wanted to try it. Now here is another interesting part of the story. A box of fairy floss cost 25 cents at the fair. Today that may sound cheap, but in 1904, it was not cheap at all. In fact, The fare ticket cost 50 cents. So one box of fairy floss cost half the price of getting into the fair itself. That means this little cloud of sugar was a special treat, not a tiny, careless purchase. Even so, people still bought it. They were curious. They were excited, and they wanted to taste the sweet wonder everyone was talking about. And the people kept coming. More and more visitors stopped at the stand. More and more boxes were sold. By the end of the fair, Morrison and Wharton had sold about 68,655 boxes of fairy floss. That is a huge number. Imagine the crowds, children pulling their parents closer, adults laughing in surprise, friends sharing this strange new sweet. The machine was not only making candy, it was making a show. It was making an experience. And the fair visitors loved both the taste and the magic of watching it being made. The machine did so well, in fact, that it won a prize at the fair for its novelty. That means people saw it as something fresh, different, and exciting. It was not just another candy. It was a new way to turn sugar into joy. Morrison and Wharton had done something important. They had taken an old idea, spun sugar, and made it easier, faster, and much more fun for ordinary people to enjoy. In this way, cotton candy was not only an invention, it was also a new kind of public treat, a sweet show for fairs, parks, and busy summer days. I like to imagine one small moment at that fair. Maybe a child walked by with tired feet after a long, hot day. Maybe the child saw a pink cloud in a little box. Maybe the child looked up and asked, "What is that?" The parent bought one box, slowly, because it cost real money. Then the child took a bite, and the candy disappeared almost at once. Sweet, light, airy, gone in a second. But the feeling stayed. The surprise stayed. Sometimes history changes not only with wars and kings. Sometimes it changes with one bite of something new. After the World's Fair, fairy floss became more famous. Other people wanted machines too. The sweet treat began to move beyond the fair. It appeared in more places, and more people learned how to make it. Over time, the treat became part of fun days out, circuses, carnivals, and festivals. It matched those places perfectly. Cotton candy was bright, playful, and easy to notice from far away. It looked happy. It looked like celebration. It looked like childhood. Even today, when many people see it, they think of music, lights, games, and summer air. But there was still one more change to come, the name. For some years, many people still called it fairy floss. In some countries today, people still use names like candy floss or fairy floss. But in the United States, another name became popular later, cotton candy. Britannica says the name cotton candy is linked to dentist Joseph Lascaux in the 1920s. The new name was simple and easy to understand. It told people exactly what the sweet looked like. Cotton, but candy. Soft, but sweet. Ordinary words for an extraordinary treat. And now let us stop for a moment and think about the funny heart of this story. A dentist helped invent cotton candy. Many people laugh when they hear this. Dentists usually tell us to be careful with sugar. They tell us to brush our teeth. They tell us not to eat too many sweets. Yet one dentist helped create one of the most famous sweets in the world. That surprise is one big reason why people still remember William Morrison today. History can be serious sometimes, but sometimes history smiles at us too. There is also something beautiful in the way cotton candy is made. It begins with something plain. Simple sugar, hard little grains. But with heat, motion, and air, it becomes a soft cloud. The change happens fast, almost like a magic trick. Maybe that is why people still stop and watch the machine, even now, after more than 100 years. Cotton candy still feels special. We know it is only sugar, yet it still surprises us. It still feels light and playful. It still brings that small moment of wonder. The story of cotton candy also tells us something about invention. Great ideas are not always huge. They do not always change trains, cities, or governments. Sometimes a great idea changes a small human moment, a fair day, a family walk, a child's memory. Morrison and Wharton did not invent sugar. They did not invent joy. But they found a new way to bring joy into people's hands. Their machine turned a difficult candy art into something many more people could enjoy. And that is a real kind of success. So when you see cotton candy next time, maybe at a fair, a park, or a festival, remember this true story. Remember Nashville. Remember the year 1897. Remember William Morrison the dentist, and John C. Wharton the confectioner. Remember the World's Fair in St. Louis. Remember the name Fairy Floss. And remember the crowds who paid good money for a box of sweet pink cloud. They were not only buying candy, they were tasting something brand new, something bright, something memorable, something that would stay in the world for more than a century. And that, my friends, is the sweet true story of how cotton candy came into the world. I hope you enjoyed this gentle little journey through history. Thank you for listening with me today. You are doing such a wonderful job with your English. One story at a time. Please tell me, what story would you like to hear next? And if you enjoyed this one, please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to share another calm and interesting English story with you very soon.